The summit hall was buzzing with life. Cameras flashed, reporters whispered, and the murmurs of fans filled every corner. On the stage, celebrities posed for photos, made small talk, and laughed at rehearsed jokes. But behind the curtain, away from the public eye, an entirely different story was unfolding. SHEN YUE stood near the edge of the corridor, her back straight, her expression carefully neutral. Her fingers toyed with the edge of her dress, twisting it just enough to feel something tangible in her hands. Her manager hovered nearby, advising on timing, schedule, and reminders, but SHEN YUE wasn't listening. Her mind was somewhere else, somewhere distant. WANG had been there for most of the evening, present but detached, making his rounds politely, shaking hands, accepting applause. His eyes, however, betrayed him. Every so often, he glanced toward the corridor where SHEN YUE had retreated. He wasn't supposed to confront her tonight. She had made it clear. Words, gestures, and silence had all set the boundary. But he could not help himself. She refused to look at him. Not yet. Not tonight. The first time their eyes met during the event, she had deliberately averted her gaze, focusing on her manager, her notes, anything other than him. She reminded herself, control, professionalism, distance. Every step she had taken in the past month to maintain boundaries surged through her like a mantra. But the moment he entered the same space, the mantra wavered. He noticed immediately. Dylan moved quietly through the staff, past the photographers who were setting up for the next segment, past the co-stars chatting and laughing. He approached her slowly, deliberately, making sure his movements were calm. Every step he took was measured, careful. He didn't want to alarm her, didn't want to force her hand. He just needed a single moment, a single word, to bridge the gap she had built so meticulously. Her back was still to him when he reached her. She was tense, every muscle tight, her posture rigid. She didn't want to engage, and she had rehearsed her stance so many times that it was practically second nature. He cleared his throat softly, almost imperceptibly, as if testing her defenses. She flinched, reflexively, but did not turn. Her hands gripped the folder she carried. Her fingers were pale against the leather cover, knuckles slightly white. "SHEN YUE," he said, low and calm. She remained still. She did not turn. She didn't even breathe audibly. The staff around them sensed the tension, but did not interfere, unsure if it was professional protocol or a private battle unfolding. Dylan took a step closer. "SHEN YUE." Still, no response. He stopped a foot behind her, close enough that she could feel his presence, close enough to hear the subtle shift in his voice, close enough that the air between them felt charged, almost electric. She wanted to retreat. She wanted to leave. She wanted to remind herself that she was in control, that this was a professional event, that her heart had nothing to do with it. But despite all her efforts, her chest tightened. Her resolve trembled. Every nerve ending was alive with the tension between them. And though she refused to look, every instinct screamed that he was there for her alone. "You don't have to look at me," Dylan said softly, "but I need to say it." Her back remained to him, but her mind faltered. His tone wasn't demanding or pleading. It wasn't desperate in the way she had imagined in the past months. It was calm, firm, honest, and that honesty cut through every layer of defense she had constructed. "I know you're trying to protect yourself," he continued, "but sometimes the truth, it can't wait." She inhaled slowly. The air trembled in her lungs. She wanted to flee, wanted to escape the weight of his presence, wanted to maintain the fragile barrier she had built. But the words lingered in the air, almost tangible, pressing against her like gravity. Then he said it. One word. Stay. It was simple, singular, uncomplicated, and it broke her. Her fingers slackened around the folder. Her shoulders sagged slightly. She had been holding herself rigid for months, ever since the last project ended, ever since the moments between them became too heavy to carry. She had avoided him. She had avoided this confrontation. She had avoided the truth in every way she could. But the words stay, soft, unassuming, yet so powerful, pierced every layer of her armor. Her heart leapt. Her breath caught. She wanted to run. She wanted to resist. And yet, she found herself frozen, unable to move forward, unable to retreat. Dylan felt the shift immediately. He had not touched her, had not forced her to turn, had not tried to manipulate her in any way. He had merely spoken a word, and the weight of it was enough. He had waited for her acknowledgement, waited for her to respond, waited for her eyes to meet his. She couldn't. Not yet. Her lips parted slightly, almost imperceptibly, but she didn't speak. She couldn't. Words were too fragile, too inadequate to describe the storm of emotion building inside her. She felt the months of separation, the tension of missed opportunities, the longing that had never been quelled. And she felt the impossibility of running from him any longer. "SHEN YUE," Dylan said again, quieter this time, closer now, just behind her shoulder. "Please." Her back stiffened. Her stomach churned. Every instinct screamed at her to remain distant, to protect herself, to maintain control. And yet, she felt herself bending toward him, not physically, but emotionally. Every suppressed feeling, every unsaid word, every unresolved moment of closeness flooded back into her consciousness. The corridor felt narrower, the lights brighter, the noise of the summit fading into a blur. It was just the two of them, suspended in a space where time seemed to slow. The distance between them was measured in inches, but felt like miles, stretched by months of silence and avoidance. She finally turned her head, just slightly, enough to glance at him from the corner of her eye. Her breath caught. He was watching her, waiting, patient, unjudging. The word "stay" had done more than any confrontation, any argument, any confession could have done. It had cracked open the barrier she had so carefully built. Dylan's expression softened, just slightly, but the intensity remained. "I don't need anything else," he said. "I just needed you to hear me. I needed you to know I'm not letting go." Tears pricked her eyes. She blinked rapidly, unwilling to let them fall, unwilling to show that he had gotten under her defenses, unwilling to give him the satisfaction of seeing how deeply he still affected her. She swallowed hard. You shouldn't have said that." "I should have," he said firmly. "Because you were about to walk away, and I couldn't let that happen. Not again. Not tonight. Not ever." Her heart raced. Her hands trembled. She could barely stand still, yet she remained rooted to the spot, held in the gravity of his presence and the power of that moment. "You don't understand," she whispered. I can't just stay. There are too many eyes on us. Too many expectations. Too many consequences." Dylan took a small step closer, respectful, careful.